This evening we're actually going to have a look at a different aerial. It's mounted on my mudguard here. On the face of it, it looks like a fairly solid and useful aerial. Now, this aerial's unfortunately got a common mode failure issue, and I'll describe that in a minute. The reason why this aerial's, well, I'm told the reason why this aerial's very popular is if you're in the habit of running your car through a car wash, you can unscrew the antenna like that and pop a cap over it. Where I live, there's not too many car washes. Most of the vehicles up my way get cleaned with a pressure washer. And the roads up where I live are particularly rugged, and actually by all accounts have been for an extended period of time. In fact, we had a parliamentary tour, road tour in my neck of the woods in 1917, and I might even splice a picture of parliamentarians pulling their cars out of the mud. Now, the roads in my neck of the woods have improved quite considerably. I can't say the same for parliamentarians. They're probably just exactly the same. Anyway, this antenna's, this is, I guess, one of its selling points, or I've had it explained to me that it's one of the reasons why this antenna was purchased. You can pop the rubber cap off, pop the aerial off, put the rubber cap on, and run it through a car wash. Now, I better explain what the common mode failure is. This antenna has a common mode failure, and the common mode failure occurs right here. As the vehicle drives around on our rough roads in this neck of the woods, the upper portion of this antenna works away on this joint between the solid stainless steel section here and this section here, which is made of some form of plastic. These two are actually screwed together. Not so sure I can actually get that apart. Most of the time they're, yep, it's turning. Here you go. There's actually a thread there, and over an extended period of time with the antenna working like that, what it tends to do is it tends to flog this joint out. The problem there is that the water, it doesn't matter whether it's early morning dew or whatever, but the water tends to run down this stainless steel portion and get to this point, and capillary action then draws the water down inside this part of the antenna. Your antenna then starts to go rotten from the inside out. Now, the first sign that you've got an issue here, so if you've got these antennas, if you're looking at this video and you recognise the shape of this base, one of the first giveaways to let you know that you've got an issue here is the connector, the RF connector, which is mounted into this section here. You end up with this filled with water. Now, of course, that's an obvious detriment to the performance of your radio set, because it's shorting the RF, which is travelling on the centre pin, to the ground, which is the outer part of this connector. So from a short-term perspective, your range drops right off. From a long-term perspective, your aerial's actually going rotten, and if you pull this off, and discover that there's water in there. As a short-term fix, of course, you can squirt that out with compressed air and then give it a squirt with WD-40. But you will also need to seal this joint here. You could probably put a bit of Sikaflex or something of that nature around there, and that'll give you a little bit more life out of your antenna. But long term, unfortunately, this particular antenna is going to deteriorate and it'll go rotten from the inside out. Once this starts to corrode, when you look in here, it gets a decidedly green look to it, then you'll probably find your antenna's not working as an antenna at all. So if you've got this style of antenna, something to keep an eye on, I guess. I don't know quite what you do about the mode failure. It's actually, you know, an obvious weakness when that's working backwards and forwards here. I guess you could put some sealant around it. But anyway, if you've got this style of antenna, just keep your eye open. Once the lower portion has started to corrode down in here, then you're obviously going to have to replace this piece, and I'm guessing that because the water's coming in from here, you're going to have to replace the upper piece as well. Perhaps the best long-term solution is to look at an antenna of a completely different type. Anyway, just something to keep an eye on if you happen to have these antennas in service.